At the bottom of the president's budget, you can see the budget totals. So what you could see are receipts and outlays, and then a deficit or surplus for each year moving forward. So you can see the receipts were $3.2 trillion, but the outlays that we spent in 2016 was $3.8 trillion, and that gives us a deficit of $585 billion. You notice that in the beginning of the president's message, it says that we are $20 trillion in debt, and the debt that is actually held by the public is $14 trillion. Where the other $6 trillion is at is basically called intergovernmental loans. You won't see that here in the numbers. But an intergovernmental loan, basically every year employers in the government collects a payroll tax, so they collect Social Security on all the workers in the country. And then they pay out Social Security to the people who are over the age of 62, 65, 70, whatever year they decide to retire. Since the government has collected so much more money than what they need to spend on Social Security, they've taken that surplus and they kind of borrow against it and spend it in other areas of the government. And that's what the video kind of talked about. So that $6 trillion difference between the actual deficits posted and then the debt that's actually held by the public. So these are Americans and then other countries, China, Japan, Germany, that have huge trade surpluses. They need to park their money somewhere safe, and so they do it in U.S. Treasuries. So that debt that's held is at $14 trillion by the public. So basically the government is borrowing against itself when they collect surpluses. And you can kind of see that if I kind of scroll down here, you can kind of see it gives you the different outlays. So there's defense spending, non-defense spending, and then you could see the other mandatory programs, and that's how you get your outlay spending of $3.8 trillion. If you go down here and look, you could see that now it looks like we're kind of getting to a point where we're not going to have a surplus that we collect on Social Security that we actually pay out. So what this means is the government is going to have to figure out how to balance the budget without relying on itself, which will be a challenge as we move forward. I don't think any politician wants to go and say, I'm going to cut Social Security benefits to retirees or future retirees, because you got to remember most of those people do vote and they have a big voice. That's why it's important for young people to vote, because what is going to be decided is going to have an impact on them in the future. So that's a little bit about what's kind of going on, and there are some of the numbers. There's somewhere between 25 and 30 government agencies, Department of Defense, Department of Health, and Department of Social Security. Those are kind of the three biggest expenditures that we have on the books, and then all the other departments kind of fill in. So you have Department of Education, the Environment Protection Agency, Interior, Commerce. It goes on and on. So if you really want to dig around, you can go on to the website, whitehouse.gov, and kind of look through all the different agencies, what they do, and kind of how they spend money if you're more curious about that.